Hello, Internet. Nope, I still haven't figured out what to come up with next. I'm waiting for some inspiration to hit me. What's something else that people are known to anticipate? Ow! I think it's fair to say that Super Smash Bros. Is one of, if not the most celebrated gaming franchises out there. Each game is heavily speculated about leading up to release and comes out with an incredible amount of content. With how much Ultimate has crammed into it, a lot of people aren't sure where the series can go from here. So I thought it would be a fun little challenge to see if I could come up with a new direction for Super Smash Bros. Seems simple enough, right? Oh, what have I gotten myself into? To start off, what would I personally want out of a Smash Bros. Game? Looking back at the prior entries, what I enjoy the most is the representation of Nintendo history, introducing it to new audiences. Think about characters like Captain Falcon, Ness, the Ice Climbers, and Mr. Game & Watch. Not a lot of people knew who they were when they were introduced to the series, and now they've become household names. But when we come to Ultimate, while you have similar characters like Simon and King K. Rool, a lot of the newcomers felt like they were added to advertise new games, and the museum aspect took quite a bit of a backseat. I'm definitely going to focus on my game being a virtual Nintendo museum, maybe even have it revealed at the Nintendo Museum in Kyoto to really nail down that theme. So without further ado, let me introduce you to Super Smash Bros. Memories. After the opening cinematic, we enter the museum and browse the various exhibits and areas. I really wanted to try something fun with the menu system, and this was a perfect excuse to do so. Starting off with the main mode, we have all the familiar options before we finally get to the fighter roster. This is the most discussed aspect of a Smash Bros. Game, so it's really important to get it right. Oh boy, time to disappoint people. My goal with this roster was to see how much Nintendo history I could feature in a smaller roster than Smash 4. The characters are organized by franchises in rough chronological order of their debut. While it could be easier to add to Ultimate's roster, I don't think it's feasible from a licensing or balancing standpoint to make a larger roster than that, and it would probably feel overwhelming for players. I had to cut a lot of fan favorites to represent as much Nintendo history as possible within the parameters, and there aren't any Echo Fighters here since they aren't usually planned from the start and added if there's time left over. Now the real fun part is talking about how the fighters themselves work. Not only will the new characters have new movesets to try out, but the older characters will be brought up to the same standard as the new ones. A lot of fighters added before Smash 4 don't have movesets that are fun to play or showcase their characters well, so a smaller roster would allow for improvements. Give Mario more power-ups, Sonic moves from battle, etc. I was also able to bring in some characters people have wanted in Smash for a while, like Geno, Shantae, Rayman, and the Chorus Kids, as well as quite a few more unexpected but really fun picks. Chibi Robo would really benefit from time in the spotlight, Monita could represent a lot of games without fighters, and giving a character like Suzy a 3D model for the first time would be really cool to see. And on the topic of models, all the characters and environments would have a plastic texture similar to Super Mario Bros. Wonder or the Link's Awakening remake, as a callback to the early games in the series. But which environments would the fighters be competing in? Some stages in Super Smash Bros. Have a bit of a reputation for being a pain to fight on, so I wanted to avoid that. My stages are fairly simple and viable competitively, but also feature gimmicks and hazards that can be disabled. If you like to fight with items, there will be plenty of those as well. I want to make all of them actually connect to Nintendo games, like make the otherwise generic Ray Gun and NES Zapper. The sandbag can stay though. Speaking of which, the stadium would make a grand return with Home Run Contest, Multi-Man Smash, and Target Test with 15 stages, each designed after a different piece of Nintendo hardware. The other single-player modes are a bit more tricky, especially the Adventure mode. Ultimate's Classic mode was really solid, but every solo story mode has some major flaws. Melee starts off really strong with classic locations, but is over too fast. Subspace Emissary goes bigger but has more generic areas, and World of Light is basically a ton of versus matches with conditions and a world map. For memories, I'd like to introduce Adventure Legacy, a solo campaign throughout Nintendo history. Starting off with Mr. Game & Watch, you travel through the following game worlds, and come across fighters on the way. You'd gain and cycle through fighters similarly to Sonic Mania Plus's Encore mode, and would see cutscenes of the characters interacting that could be either in-engine or CGI, maybe doubling as fighter reveal trailers. Alright, I've been waiting a long time for this part. Entering the vault, trophies make a grand return with new 3D models created specifically for the game, as well as the updated Nintendo Chronicle with even more of Nintendo's published games since Brawl released. But the biggest return is masterpieces, in the form of an arcade cabinet you can spend in-game coins on to play up to 20 minutes of a variety of different games where the roster of fighters originates. Along with the cinematics and trailers, you'd be able to save, edit, and export replays of the game, and the stage builder would give you plenty of elements and textures reminiscent of other games. And here's something not many others discuss when it comes to new Smash games: the amiibo. All previous amiibo of the characters in the roster would still be compatible, but there would also be a new and improved line modeled after the new fighter designs. And that's right, 12 special plush amiibo based on the original Smash Bros. Fighters. Scanning them will unlock special versions of the fighters with their Nintendo 64-era designs and a unique plush texture. Well, that was a lot of fun to make. I wonder what other people think about it. Yeah, that checks out.